Hi guys, so welcome back. So we have changed areas. So hopefully I'm in a bit more of a better Wi-Fi spot for at least my DS anyway. And we're just going to kick straight on to the tournament and see how we get on. So we've played two matches so far. Um, Somehow had some terrible rolls in the first game and still managed to kind of pull out a win, but we'll forget about that too much. And then a second game, and then I think did we play a third? No, we haven't played a third game yet. So we had a DC in our second game, but it wasn't on our end. So and then we were struggling to find an opponent, so we decided to kind of just reset the DS and come back on to hopefully have a bit more success looking for opponents and not dropping out. So let's dive straight on and see what we can do. Hopefully we find an opponent pretty quick. So we're over 1900 now, finally. And we'll put the Island Kahuna music on, and we're still, just to go over the team quickly, we are running the Arcanine, Garchomp, Gigalith, Porygon 2, Tapu Lele, and Celesteela. So, team so far is doing alright, and we just need to kind of keep concentration, not get like complacent with things, and just keep pulling out the wins, basically. Like I said earlier, I'm not really going to be happy with anything other than like 15-0 today, to be honest. It might sound a bit unrealistic to some people, but I think you've got to really set the bar high. If you want to do well in things, why not say I'm going to win everything? I think that's a good attitude to have, and I imagine like you're just not going to take your opponents, underestimate anyone, because everyone's got the potential. Anyone you come up against, doesn't matter who it is, they can beat you most of the time. So just don't underestimate your opponents, and that's not what we're going to do today. So we have our next opponent from Japan, 1599, nice rating, with a team of Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Celesteela, Garchomp, Lapras, and Lolimug. So quite a standardish looking core, apart from the Lapras, which is a nice inclusion there. So we'll have to be careful with that. And what are we going to do here? I do like Arcanine a lot, offers a lot of support, obviously with its Intimidate ability, and it's a good defense against Celesteela. Offers a Will-O-Wisp for the Garchomp and the Muck. Garchomp of our own isn't too bad here either, just for hitting the Muck and the Tapu Koko. Obviously with his Salt Vest, it's going to match up a lot better against the Lapras and the Tapu Lele than it previously would without the item. I think I might just go with my standard 4, to be honest here. I'm going to bring Tapu Lele, Arcanine as my lead. I don't really feel as though I need the Trick Room mode here. I mean, Porygon 2 might be quite nice, but then you've also got to worry about the Muck in that sort of situation, and we will likely get knocked off. It's just going to make things a bit more difficult. It does hit the Celesteela, the Lapras, and the Garchomp for good damage, but then I don't know. I don't know if the Trick Room is going to be... Obviously, the Gigalith would be a good option here, but then we haven't picked it, so we'll just go without it this game and see how we get on. I think we'll be fine, to be honest, without the Trick Room element. And hopefully my opponent might set up expecting us to go for that Trick Room mode, so we'll just see what happens. White screen. What is going on? So something is happening, and my opponent does appear out of the white screen, and he's going to lead off with Garchomp and Tapu Koko. So, super happy with this, because it means we'll be able to get our Psychic Terrain up, override the Electric Terrain from the Tapu Koko, and we'll get a nice Intimidate off from our Arcanine onto that Garchomp. So, what am I going to do here? I've got two options here. I can either attack into the Tapu Koko, or I can attack into the Garchomp. With my Tapu Lele, because I don't want to really leave my Arcanine in here, just for the threat of that Tectonic Rage. If my opponent does decide to go for it. I don't expect he will, though. But I might... I'm going to go for a Psychic into the Tapu Koko, and I'm going to switch. Actually, no, I'm not, because it would make more sense for the Tapu Koko to switch out for the terrain later in the match, yeah. So I am going to go for Psychic into that, and I'm going to switch in my Garchomp in place of my Arcanine. I don't want to switch in the Celesteela, because there could potentially be a big electric type attack coming into that slot, and it would do too much damage to the Celesteela for its job to be later on in the game. We do see a U-turn come out from the Tapu Koko. So is it actually going to go into the Celesteela? So we should have probably targeted down the Garchomp. But we'll see what my opponent brings in here. Imagine it will be that. So it's the Lapras. Okay. And what are we going to see the Garchomp go for? Tectonic Rage. Is he just doubling in to the... It doesn't look like a Tectonic Rage actually. So what is this Z move? Corkscrew Crash. So this is definitely into the Lele. He's doubling up into this slot. And he's going to take my Lele down. Poor Lele. Okay. So I'm going to bring in my Celesteela here. And I'm just going to double into the Lapras this turn. I'm going to go for a Heavy Slam into it. And I'm going to go for a Rock Slide as well. Just to get some damage. Fish for flinches if I can. I'd imagine the Garchomp maybe to switch out here. And the Lapras may protect. But we may see the Tapu Koko come back in. If the Lapras does protect, I'm fine with that, because it means the Garchomp isn't taking any damage this turn. It isn't getting put into Dazzling Gleam range from that for that Tapu Koko to come in and just pick up the KO easily there. Let's see what my opponent is going to go for. Opponent just taking his time. So we do see an Ice Shard come off from the Lapras, but the Psychic Terrain does protect us there. Rock Slide come out from the opposing Garchomp. We get Rock Slide back onto the Lapras, and we will hopefully get a Heavy Slam onto the Lapras as well. But we do flinch, which is super unfortunate, super annoying. But my opponent there, just forgetting that the Ice Shard. And I think this turn what I'm going to do is actually go for an Earthquake, just in case a Tapu Koko maybe switches in, expecting another Rock Slide from the Garchomp. Garchomp just goes for another Rock Slide again. Hits both my opponent, my Pokemon. We get the Earthquake off. Hopefully this will put Lapras down a bit more, maybe into Heavy Slam range. I don't know though. Lapras goes for Freeze Dry. As we are Salt Vested, we should be able to take this. Yeah, we will get a Heavy Slam off this turn. But unfortunately, our Garchomp is probably in... I wonder if my opponent here is going to go for an Ice Shard and bring in the Tapu Koko on the Garchomp slot to get the Ice Shard off. So just in case he does that, I'm going to actually Heavy Slam into the Garchomp, get some damage off onto that, and go switch into my Arcanine. Because I don't want to lose my Garchomp at this point of the match. Because my opponent still could have the Muck. But like I say, we probably are in Dazzling Gleam range either way. And we're not sitting in the best of spots at the minute, which is a bit unfortunate. So we aren't going to see my opponent switch out his Garchomp. So we might go for just another Freeze Dry. We get another Intimidate off onto that Garchomp, which is big. And we see the Lapras go for the Ice Shard onto the Celesteela this time. Garchomp this time goes for an Earthquake. So it will KO its own Lapras. and do a bit of damage to our Arcanine. We will get a heavy slam off onto the Garchomp. One pick up the KO, I wouldn't have thought. No. Take a bit of rough skim damage in the process. But now I'd imagine the Tapu Koko to come in. And it is the Muck, actually. Okay. So I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp onto the Muck, and I'm going to go for a Leech Seed onto the Gar. Actually, I'm not. I'm just going to go for a Heavy Slam onto the Garchomp because I need to try and... Should I go for a Leech Seed? Leech Seed could miss, so I'm going to go for a Heavy Slam into the Garchomp, and I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp into the Muck with my Arcanine. My opponent might protect the Muck and just go for an Earthquake again, but it's more likely probably go for a Rock Slide, or it may even, yeah. So the Rock Slide, Arcanine does avoid, which is nice. Celesteela take minimal damage from that Rock Slide. Hopefully we don't get a flinch this turn. Will-O-Wisp does hit, so that's a big, big turn for us there. And we get a Heavy Slam off onto this Garchomp, which is super nice. So, hopefully, that Muck goes for a knockoff into the Celesteela to knock off that leftovers rather than my Arcanine. We do get a Beast Boost and the attack rise, and knock off, yeah, into the Celesteela. So that's way better for us because we want to try and keep that Iapa Berry. Still very difficult situation here though. But I feel as though that the Tapu Koko has to really attack into the Celesteela this turn, because if it doesn't go for a T-Bolt into my Celesteela and we get a Heavy Slam off after that attack boost, we will pick up a KO if that's a standard 4 HP Tapu Koko. So I am just going to Heavy Slam into it and go for a Snarl with my Arcanine, hopefully reducing the attack power of that Tapu Koko in the process. And we'll see, because if the Tapu Koko goes for if it attacks into the Arcanine, then at least Celesteela will get the Heavy Slam off this turn. And like I say, if it's a standard Tapu Koko, it should pick up the KO here. And then we've got the Garchomp just to bring in against that Muck, which would be huge. So the Muck goes for the Shadow Sneak into the Arcanine. There's a bit of chip damage. We see a Wild Charge into the Arcanine as well. Okay, okay, hopefully, fingers crossed, this Heavy Slam after the recoil as well picks up the KO onto the Tapu Koko. Yes! Brilliant! Come on, Celesteela! So, we're in a really good spot now. So we've managed to kind of turn a bad situation round, and we've got our Garchomp left to bring in, and we can just hit that Muck for super effective damage with the Earthquake, and I am going to get a Leech Seed off onto it now, just to start getting a bit of health back with our Celesteela. Because the Muck's burnt, it's not going to have a really good damage output, so we're in a really nice position. So I will just go for a Leech Seed and an Earthquake. And as it is a single target as well, it will be doing a lot more than it would on a double target. Come on. My opponent just thinking about what he wants to do. Does have that Shadow Sneak, but just because it's burnt, it's not going to be doing really very much at all. Come on! Oh, please don't be us. Come on. So it wasn't us. Unfortunately, my opponent did DC there. One of those things. But we will take the win from that, and we will just continue. Definitely won the match at that point anyway. We had like a +2 Celesteela and the Garchomp, which is threatening with the Earthquake. So a nice win there. That felt a really good win. We weren't in the best position, but we kind of played it out, and it paid off there in the end, and we managed to claw back a win. So that was pretty huge. So happy with that, and we will go into our next game. So we've played 3 games today, 3 wins, and hopefully we continue that. So we have our next opponent again from Japan, 1559 rating, with a team of Milotic, Kartana, Arcanine, Alolan Ninetales, Hariyama, and Oranguru. So definitely a Trick Room mod in there with the Hariyama, Oranguru. Quite a fast mod with the Ninetales, the Kartana. Intimidate support with the Arcanine, and then we have to be careful with our own Arcanine because of the Milotic there. So, what are we going to do? We also have to be careful of the Hariyama for our Porygon too as well. I think what I might do is lead with my Tapu Lele and my... definitely, I might just bring my standard 4 here, to be honest. But it might be nice bringing the Gigalith, to be honest, because I'd imagine this sort of team looks as though it likes Aurora Veil support. And that will make it a lot more difficult for me to operate around. But then if I do bring the Gigalith, it is going to make my matchup a lot harder against the likes of like Arcanine and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to lead off a bit unconventional here with my Celesteela and my Tapu Lele, with my Garchomp and Arcanine in the back. I totally expect my opponent to bring the Milotic to this match. It just gives a lot more support options against for his Kartana against my Arcanine. But my opponent doesn't know I'm carrying Flamethrower on my Celesteela, so hopefully that kind of benefits us. And if he does lead with that Ninetales, I don't expect him to, but if he does lead with the Ninetales, then at least Celesteela is in a position where it can start putting on quite a bit of pressure. But we see my opponent lead off with the Arcanine and Kartana. So a nice lead from my opponent here. I think I'm going to switch out. Like I want to switch out my Celesteela, but because of the speed tiers, if he switches out, say, his Arcanine, so he's got the Intimidate for later on in the match to his Milotic, I want to bring my Arcanine here. If I switch it out for Celesteela, it's going to switch out last. So that means that I'll activate the competitive boost. But because my Tapu Lele outspeeds the Arcanine, and I imagine my opponent more likely to keep the Kartana in to try and tackle the Tapu Lele, I'm just going to switch my Lele out so I can get the Arcanine in for the Intimidate before the Arcanine potentially switches out. And that would be my guess. So that's what I'm going to go for, and just protect my Celesteela this turn from any attacks coming in from that Arcanine. Tapu Lele switches out. We don't see anything switch up from my opponent's end yet. Do get our Arcanine in. Get the big Intimidate off onto both my opponent's Pokemon. And we will just protect with the Celesteela. So we don't see a switch coming out from my opponent here. Smart Strike from the Kartana into the Arcanine. We should be able to take this quite nicely. Yeah. And Arcanine is going for a Z-move. Is this the Gigavolt Havoc? I don't know. I should really know the dances, but I'm not like 100% sure. Yeah, Gigavolt Havoc, and it looks like it'll probably be going into the Celesteela, but we have protected that slot, so we do get around that quite nicely. So that's not going to do too much damage at all, especially after the Intimidate. Celesteela is just going to brush that off. So, what are we going to do here? Might be too obvious to go for a fire type attack into my opponent's Kartana, to be honest, because it's so obvious that you probably will just switch it out. I don't want to risk a Snarl, but I'm just going to go for a Will-O-Wisp into that slot, and I'm going to switch my Celesteela into my... Yeah, I'm going to switch in my Garchomp here for my Celesteela. Or should I just keep it in and go for a Leech Seed onto the Arcanine? No, because then we're risking critical hits and stuff like that. If we lose a Celesteela this early on, it's not going to be very easy for us. We're going to kind of try and need to keep it around for that Milotic late game. So you do see the Kartana switch out like we thought into the Milotic. We will get the Will-O-Wisp onto that, so that will help us. And we bring the Garchomp in on the Celesteela slot. Hopefully my opponent goes for another... we see a Flare Blitz into that Garchomp slot. Garchomp will be able to take that. Wow, is that a crit? Yeah. So, Garchomp is able to take that, but it does take more damage than he normally would have due to the critical hit. We do get a Will-O-Wisp off onto the Milotic, which is nice. But I'm in a bit of a position here where I don't really want to switch out my my Arcanine. Actually, I am going to switch out my Arcanine. I'm going to switch out my Arcanine into my Celesteela here. And I'm just going to go for an Earthquake with my Garchomp, just to get some damage off. We should be able to survive an Ice Beam from that Milotic. And if my opponent does switch out his Arcanine into the Kartana, at least we've got the Celesteela on the field. Then start putting pressure on with at least a Flamethrower, and we've got the option to start Leech Seeding something as well. But if we get the Earthquake off here with Garchomp, which we're going to see the Arcanine go for a Protect. We do get the Earthquake off though. So it should do decent enough damage to that Milotic, depending on its build. Not too bad, but hopefully we survive the Ice Beam here. With the Assault Vest, I think we should. Yeah, just about. And because my opponent hasn't got the... if he's got Extreme Speed, because the Psychic Terrain is in effect, he can't use Extreme Speed to get rid of my Garchomp. So I am quite free here just to go for a Leech Seed onto the Milotic and just go for another Earthquake, pick up some damage onto that Arcanine, and hopefully, like I say, get the Leech Seed off onto the Milotic and start kind of chipping that down. Because as soon as that's gone, my Arcanine can kind of start coming in and causing a lot of problems for my opponent. My opponent ignores the Psychic Terrain, goes for the Extreme Speed, but it is blocked because of that ability on the Psychic Terrain. We will get the Earthquake off, do big damage, kill the Arcanine, which is huge, with a critical hit. So we get our revenge for that critical hit, Flare Blitz. We see the Milotic proc its Citrus Berry, get a bit of health back, and it goes for a Recover. So Garchomp gets a whiff, scot-free this match. So we're going to get a Leech Seed off, hopefully it hits. Celesteela has his glasses on. Woo! We'll get the Leech Seed off onto the Milotic. So that turn worked out actually brilliantly for us. And Celesteela is sitting in a super nice position now because that Arcanine's gone. We're not threatened by that anymore. And we can just start. We don't really need to worry too much about that Milotic. Obviously, it is threatening a KO onto the Garchomp. I'd imagine the Kartana to maybe come in now. But I might just sack. If the Kartana does come in, I'd probably just sack the Garchomp at this point, just so I can get Flamethrower off onto the Kartana. So I will go for the big Flamethrower onto Kartana. And just in case Garchomp does stick around, I'm just going to go for another Earthquake just to get some damage off onto the Milotic. But likelihood is it will go down here. So let's see what my opponent goes for. Kartana goes for Razor Leaf. Probably will pick up the KO onto Garchomp. Yeah. Critical hit on Celesteela. Dear oh dear. Kartana gets a Beast Boost. And Milotic goes for that Scald. So hopefully we don't get burnt. No burn, and Flamethrower off onto the Kartana. This should pick up the kill, as long as it's not sashed. Yeah, so Kartana down. So, making life a lot easier for Tapu Lele now. And I think the Psychic Terrain will end. Get a little bit of Leech Seed recovery back. Celesteela sitting in a super nice position. Yeah, Psychic Terrain ends, so we will just bring the Super Psychic Terrain back with our Tapu Lele. We still have our Z move in the bag, so we can just pick up the kill onto that Milotic if we choose to. It hasn't shown Protect yet, it has shown Ice Beam, Scald, Recover. And the Hariyama comes in, so very interesting. It can't utilize the Fake Out because of the Psychic Terrain. So we are free just to go for that big Shattered Psyche onto the Milotic, and I'm just going to go for a Heavy Slam onto the Hariyama with my Celesteela. So we will power up Lele, Z move, Shattered Psyche, and this should be game really. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't get another disconnect. And my opponent just forfeits. So, excellent win. So we carry on, we climb a little bit higher, and we should have the points from our last win as well, kind of counted onto our tally now. So we'll see how we're doing. Continue battling. Right. Oh, I didn't want to. I keep doing this. Saving battle. Didn't really need to save that. So we'll continue battling, and our rating at the minute is. Let's see. Just taking its time. So 1638. So not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully we kind of continue the trend. It's gone alright so far, but it could all change. So like I keep saying, we need to kind of just keep our heads on, keep concentration levels over, not get complacent, and just kind of just see how we go. Like I say, I just want to get over that 1700 mark today, and anything above that is going to be a bonus, and then we can like really push on tomorrow. So yes. But it's just about making the right decisions. I mean, you saw yesterday in that game that we lost, our only loss so far in the tournament. And it was all down to just complacency in the team that I picked in team preview. And like I kept that in mind for when I was facing the Milotic here. Because I think yesterday I didn't bring the Arcanine, and I really needed it. I needed that Intimidate support, and all I had to think about was get rid of the Milotic. I've got enough options in the team to get rid of it. Just get rid of it, and then the Arcanine can start doing its job. And because I didn't bring it in yesterday's game, it just made it super difficult for me to kind of maneuver around, and everything was just hitting way harder than what I wanted it to hit. So at least we kind of rectified a few of those issues in that past match there, but we still need to keep that in mind going forward. Taking ages again to find an opponent, so sorry about this, guys. You're going to have to put up with me chattering on for a little bit longer. Let's just check. Digital ID, yep. Ooh. We're probably going to be here for a good few hours if it carries on like this. We're going to get one match and then it kind of drags out. I thought we kind of solved the situation really a bit by just kind of turning the DS, shutting it down, turn it back on. But it seems not likely. So, right. Cool. Back in the game. Yeah, another thing as well, I kind of realised this morning, got a little heads up, I think my School of Hard Knocks episode, the Friday's episode yesterday, with the last episode that we ran the Talk All team, so there was a bit of an issue with the actual video upload, and it only uploaded like 8 minutes of the video, which was super strange. I've never known that before. The actual video size is about 30 minutes, so it cut out a whole section of the video. So I am in the process of uploading that now, so we'll go live again. The last match to send the actual talk call off was pretty cool, so do check that out if you can. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed using the talk call team. It's quite it's like a fun. It is super threatening, but it's more of a bit of a fun team to kind of play around with. But I don't think it's. I think it can be utilized still in the meta game. It was obviously very early meta. It was very popular early meta game, and it's kind of fallen away off the ladder because it is a bit of a one-trick pony. And once you know how your opponent has to set it up and has to go around setting it up, then it makes it a bit easier to play around. And I think everyone's more familiar with the core now, so it does make it's a bit more familiarized and easier to kind of set up against, rather than it was at the start of the meta game. But you've seen teams like Sundude. Oh man, we cannot find anyone. Yeah, Sundude, he had a really cool, one of the US regionals variant of the talk call team. So it can be done. And we had a few different techs in there, and a few surprises that we'd added in our own, and I think they worked. We didn't really get a chance to kind of utilize the Gyarados as much as I wanted to, and I did think about, originally when I was putting the Gyarados in there, I was going to use the bounce Z-move, flying the Supersonic Sky Strike on the Gyarados, but then I changed my mind. It didn't pan out so well, so we're going to search for an opponent again, hopefully this time, third time lucky, and we'll get back into a match ASAP. If we don't find one now, guys, I will, and we're just going to shut down again, and then we'll come back. But it won't really matter to you too much, because I'll cut the video and then we'll just start straight back up where I drop off. So, yes, but yeah, it'd be nice to kind of have a good run today, because I do feel like this team has the potential to do really well at this point in the meta game. Anyway, I do like it a lot. It is quite standard looking. You've obviously got a lot of big Pokemon in there that you see all the time, but they're big for a reason. They're good for a reason. And it's the first team I've kind of put together this season that I felt like, actually, this feels really good. I haven't really, I like a lot of the teams that I've put together, and I like a lot of the Pokemon in the new format, but I haven't had that satisfaction with the team yet where I've been like, wow, this is the team that I feel really comfortable with and I really like. It operates really nice, it's smooth, it transitions between itself on the battlefield. I can manipulate board positions super easy. I can I don't get punished for kind of maneuvering around and predicting my opponent. So it just feels very nice, and I haven't had that all season with the team. So this is why it was kind of really more frustrating yesterday, because I feel like it can do well, and when, right, okay, so we haven't found an opponent. So I'm going to log off this, finish the video right here, and I'll be right back. So I'm going to just shut down my DS, and hopefully we can pick up when I get back. So take a break, go get a drink, whatever, and I'll see you in like 2 seconds. Bye-bye.